let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Hello and welcome to Johnny B's Tech Videos. In today's video, I will be showing you my setup on how I use RC600 as a solo performer. Heads up, this video does not talk about live looping. This video is all about how I pre-record loops and do a song arrangement so I can perform on stage and still sound like a band. So let's get into it. Today's video is all about my workflow with Boss RC600. I am a solo performer, so I'll be sharing how I use this looper to perform as a whole band being a solo performer. Just to give a rundown of how I do things, looper has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pedals, and I use them all independently. For example, I might use the first pedal as my intro, the second pedal as my verse, the third pedal as chorus, the fourth pedal as another section of the song, fifth pedal another section, and the last pedal as another section or perhaps the outro. In this video, I will be sharing the settings that I do in RC600 so I can achieve what I do. There are 5 processes that I do, and following those I can attain what I just explained to you, that is, use each of these pedals as independent section of a song. Let's look at the settings we need to do in RC600 for process 1. This process is pretty simple. RC600 comes with this setting already. Let's dig into it. So the first thing we do is we hit menu and then the right arrow, and here we see control function, which corresponds to the first knob, and we go into control function and then we can see mode 1, which is right here. So we hit that again, and now we can see all the pedals 1, 2, 3, 4, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. And then if you want more pedals, 5, 6, 7, 8, so that would be 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on. I usually stick with these 6 pedals. I like to arrange my songs just within these 6 pedals. So once we are at the modes, we need to select mode 1. And here, if you look closely, it says track 1, record / play 4. And this is exactly what we need on all pedals. And basically what it means, you push it once, it will record and it will play. You hold it, it will undo or clear. And you click it twice, it will stop. Okay, so that's what this function is doing. So we can see that on track 1 or pedal 1, we already have track 1 record / play 4. We go exit, we go into pedal 2. Here you can see we have track 2 record / play 4. And it will do the same thing. You push it once, it will record. You push it once, it will play. You hold the pedal, it will undo or clear. You click it twice, it will stop. We need to do that for all the 6 pedals. 3, same settings. 4, same settings. 5, same settings. 6, same settings. Now, as I said, I could use more than 6 pedals, but I only stick with 6 pedals, so I will only do 6 pedals. Let's look at the settings we need to do in RC600 for process 2. Process 2. As factory setting, RC600 comes in a way that every pedal can play in multi-mode. So if this is playing and I hit that, they both will play simultaneously. If this is playing, and I play this one as well, all 3 will play together. So I could have guitar, bass, and drums, perhaps backing vocals here, something else here, and something else here. And that's how it can work. It has its own advantages. For my needs, I need to change it to single mode. And the steps to do that are, first hit loop, then we go into track, and then we click the right arrow twice. Now you can see that play mode over here, it says multi, which is multi-mode. We need to change that to single mode. And all we have to do for that, go to the corresponding knob, which is this one, move it once, and it changes to single. Now we need to do that for all the 6 tracks. I could go back, follow the same process, but there's a faster way to do it, and that is if I hit loop again on this screen. If I hit loop, if you look closely, the track 1 changes to track 2, and since we didn't change track 2, it still says multi. Okay, now we can change this to single. Now look closely again. If I just hit loop once, this track 2 now will change to 3, and the single will change to multi. I'm hitting loop. There you go. You can see track 3 multi. So we change that to single. We do the same process. Track 4 multi, single. Do that again. Track 5 multi. We change that to single. And the last one, change it to single. Now before I move on to the third process, I'd like to say that sometimes I would keep one of these tracks in multi-mode. An example would be, I have my chorus here, and for the entirety of the song, I want to play that chorus without distortion. So I will play that. But for my outro, I need to play the chorus with distortions. So what I can do, let's say I have played a chord progression of A minor, G, F, and E major. I could play the same progressions on this pedal or any other pedal to use it just at the end as outro. Then I would want this pedal and this pedal to play together. So what I could do, since this is pedal 6, I can go into track 6 and I can leave that to multi and not change it to single. And that way I could play this chorus and that chorus together. So sometimes I do incorporate multi-mode depending on the arrangement of my song. Let's look at the settings we need to do in RC600 for process 3. Process 3, making sure that the loop on one pedal ends before the next one starts. Basically, in this process, we make sure that one loop on a pedal finishes before the next one starts. And the steps for doing that is, you hit loop, you go to track, you hit the right arrow once, and here you will see certain options: start mode, stop mode, and then there are 2 others. So we need the loop to stop once it's completed. Right now, as per factory settings, the loop will stop immediately, but we need it to stop once the loop is over. So all we have to do, go to the corresponding knob. If you turn it once, it will say fade. We don't want the loop to fade. We want it to play it with the full sound and then end. So we will move it one more time, and there it says loop. If you look at the logic of it, stop mode, loop. So this pedal will only stop its loop when the loop is completed. That's what it means. We can hit save here. I can get a bit paranoid, so that's why I like to save on every step. Now we need to do that for every pedal. Same steps. So we go to loop, track 1, once. Now we have already done it for track 1. Now we need to change the stop mode for track 2. So we move the corresponding knob once, and now it shows track 2. Now we go hit it once, we hit this once, and now it says track 2 on top. The stop mode for this one still says immediate. Move it once, fade, move it twice, loop. Now we do the same for all the rest of the pedals, which is 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Now I have changed it for all 6. There. Let's look at the settings we need to do in RC600 for process 3.1. The next process is a sub-process. By doing both of these processes, we make sure that once the loop on this one ends, only then this will start, even though if we hit it before this loop ends. So my process 3.1 and the steps for that are pretty simple. You go into loop again, you select track, but this time you don't hit it. You leave it on track 1, but what you hit is the play, which is the 3rd knob. You hit it once, and here you will see track change or S track change. The corresponding knob to this is the first one. You have to change it from immediate, not measures, but to loop end. So the third option on this one. And the screen will say loop end, track 1, and so on. Now the beauty of doing this is, once you have done it for track 1, if you exit, you go on to loop, which is right here. And if you change look track 2, you hit play, you will see that the track change for pedal 2 is loop end already. I don't know how it happens. That's how the thing has been programmed, but I've just changed it for once and it changes for all the tracks. I'll show you the others. I go to track 3, I hit play, loop end. Track 6, I'm just skipping it. If I go to track 6, go there, loop end. So that just makes things a lot more simpler, easier. So I hit there, and it is saved. Let's look at the settings we need to do in RC600 for process 4. The next process in my system is to make sure when I start recording the loops, I don't go straight into record mode. I need a 4-beat intro so I don't lose my timing. What that means is there will be a drum roll or a fill-in, however you would like to call it, just before you start recording onto the pedal. The steps for that is you hit loop and then you hit loop again. Loop, loop one more time. And here you have the third option, which says rhythm. You go into the corresponding knob and you click the right arrow once. And here you will see the last option. It says intro record, and it is off at the moment. We will change it with the corresponding knob. Hit it once and it says on. I will save it. Now I have enabled the RC600 to play a 4-beat intro, or depending upon your time signature, an intro just before you start recording, which definitely helps with recording the loops. A very important piece of advice here is, so we have set intro record to on. Now we definitely want the intro to be there when we are recording, but we do not want that intro to play back once the recording of the loops is done. Let's say you have your verse here and your chorus here. So you want to go straight from verse into the chorus, keeping the time or keeping the beat. You do not want from verse a totally out of timed intro or an intro which is not required because it's not part of the arrangement. So you want to go from verse to chorus without that intro. So make sure that intro is played when you are recording, as it says intro record, but it's not there when you're playing back the loops. So here it says intro play. As a factory setting, it comes off. Leave it off. Do not turn it on unless you want it, unless it's the need of your arrangement. You can experiment with that. Let's look at the settings we need to do in RC600 to achieve process 5. Now for the last process in my workflow. This process basically relates to the arrangement. If you are someone who's happy with just having the same drum loop over and over, you don't have to do that. However, if you're like me and you would like your drum sounds or drum patterns to vary with, let's say, intro to chorus or from verse to chorus, this is something that gives an edge to the performance. Also, if you're recording drums by yourself, you don't need to use this process. This is only if you are using the drum sounds or samples within the RC600. So let's dig into it. First of all, what we need to do is select the drum sound. For doing that is you go into loop, you hit this right arrow once, and now you are in the rhythm. So corresponding knob would be the third knob. You hit that, and there you go. Using this button, you can play or turn off rhythms, but I have gone into the settings and I have assigned this pedal to start and stop the rhythm. And I can make a video on that at another point. If you do want that, please leave a comment about it and I'll do that for you. So if I hit this once, you will hear a click, not a drum beat. And that is because if you look over here, it says guide. So this is for someone who's recording their own drum loops. So this click can help you if you're playing drums to it. If you want that, sure, go ahead. So what I would do is, I don't know, just move it around and you will see you have acoustic, ballad, blues, jazz, fusion, rock, and so on. Now you can experiment with different genres and it will sound different. So if I go into rock, so that was my genre. Pattern would be, I got 8 beat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I will play the beat and see which pattern I want. Okay, so I can listen to the variation B of this pattern. Yeah, I like it. All right, let's check the pattern B or the next pattern. Okay, I'm looking for rides, if I can get ride on my second variation or variation B. So let's check this one. So this one is giving me the ride, but it also has cowbell. I don't know if I will use it or not, so I'm gonna see what pattern 3 has for me. So I forgot to change the variation to B, but I definitely have right here. I'll go back to variation A and see how that sounds. That's a good one. So let's say I have my verse here, and then I go to B for my chorus. All right, that doesn't sound bad, so I'm gonna stop it. So what I want to do is I want to use rock genre, pattern 8-3, and variation A for my verse, and variation B for my chorus. What I will do, we will use something called assign. So we need to assign variation A to this, and we need to assign variation B to this. How do we do that? We go on to menu, and then we hit the right arrow once, and here we can see the second option here is assign, and the corresponding knob is this. So we hit this, and then we have assign 1, and the corresponding knob is this, and assign 1 will assign anything to first pedal. If you go there, you have 5, 6, 7, go back. So we'll go into assign 1. So here, the screen says SW off. We need to change that off to on using the corresponding knob. Now the source, if you look at it, the source right now says track 1 record /db. I need to change that from track 1 record /db to track 1 play /stop. For that, we go to the corresponding knob. We do it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the 6th turn, we will get track 1 play /stop. The next option says source mode, and it says moment. We need to change that to toggle and leave this one as it is. Now we go into the next page. Here we leave the first option as it is, but for the second one, where it says track 1 record /play, we need to change that to rhythm vary. And just keep in mind that you will have to scroll a lot to get to that option. And as soon as we get to rhythm vary, which is short for rhythm variation, you will see 2 more options on this and this knob, and I'll show you as we get there. So let's scroll a little. It's a bit of a scroll. Here it is. Rhythm vary. And then you have target variation minimum, target maximum. So for assign 1, I want my variation to be 1, and I want to move it between 1 and C. The reason for that is the way RC600 has come with factory settings and the way the samples were loaded into it. variation A and C sound pretty much same. So I want the pedal 1 to move between variation A and C, which is a minimum target to a maximum target. And having that option gives you rolls. I personally like to give a variation target of a minimum and a maximum. And the reason for that is that it gives you rolls. Right now we have assigned variation A to C to first pedal. We do the same process and assign another variation to pedal 2 and so on. So we go on to menu. We hit this once, we go on to assign, and then we go select assign to. Same process. This is off, we turn it to on. This says track 1 record /dB. Since we are dealing with the second pedal, this one should say track 2, and the bottom line should say play stop. So we turn it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the 7th option is track 2, play /stop. The next one is movement. We change that to toggle. Go on to next screen. Leave that as it is. And this one is again a mile of scrolling. And then we go on to rhythm variation. Now we have rhythm variation. Since it says assign to, which is for the pedal 2, I want it to be my chorus, so I'll assign it variation B, which had the rides, and variation B and D again sounds pretty much same, and I'll have the minimum as B and maximum as D, so I could have roll within this loop. I go ahead, save, right? I would do the same for pedal 3, 4, 5, and 6. Just make sure that for every pedal, you change track accordingly. So right now it says assign 3. So we need to go up there and change it to track 3. Underneath it will say play /stop. When we go into assign 4, it should say track 4. Underneath it should say play /stop and so on. So right now I have only done these 2 tracks, but I can record loop on here and I can record it here, and on both of these the drum will sound different, and that is how I like to arrange my songs. And here is an example. Now that you have seen all the processes that I do to perform live on stage as a solo performer and still sound like a band, I will do an example of recording a song on RC600, and I'll walk you through it, doing all the steps that we have done. So the first thing we need to do is set up a rhythm pattern. Once you've done that, set the tempo. So let's do this example where I will record a verse here and a chorus here. And as I hit this pedal, you will see it will come in with an intro. 1, 2, 3, and... One, two, three, four. One, two, three, four. Now we'll hit it twice and you will see that loop will end, but it will only end once this whole loop is completed. 1, 2, 3, and stop. Now we will record the chorus over here and it will start with a roll. 1, 2, 3, and... 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, now I'll hit it twice and you'll see it will only end once the loop is completed. 2, 3, and... All right, now let's record a loop on top of the previous loop. Now this time when I play it, it will not start with an intro because we already have a loop on, so we can just hit it and then we can hit it again. This will turn yellow and then we can time ourselves. 1, 2, 3, and... So I did not like that loop because the timing was a bit off. So all I'm going to do is hold this and it will undo, and you will see the lights going red over there. So now it's been undone. So hold it, it undoes. Once I've undone, I hit this again, turns yellow, wait for the timing or wherever you want to play, and you can go 1, 2, 3, and... So now the loop has been recorded on top of the first loop. I hit it twice and it'll stop after completing the loop. Alright, we do the same process with the chorus now. One, two, three, and... And I hit it once, it'll just play. If I hit it twice, it'll complete the loop and it'll stop. Now let's do a performance as if I were on stage and how I would perform using these two pedals. When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And when the broken-hearted people living in the world agree, there will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. There we go. So I can switch between them how I want, when I want, as often I want. And you can incorporate more pedals as well if you want. Hope this video helped you, and if it did, please like and subscribe, and I'll be making more of these videos on how I use my equipment for live performances or for any other reasons. And thank you for staying throughout the entirety of the video. If you have questions, please write down in comments and share the video. Happy music making.